What came first, the images or the script?
For me, definitely the script came first.
I wrote it out more or less word for word, like not exactly, but pretty close to word for word. I ad-libbed very, very minimally, and deviated very little from it. But that's what took the longest, was writing the script.
Now, the first part, it looks like the first part is kind of ad-libbing.
Absolutely.
And then the second part looks like it's a script.
Yep. Basically, my sort of process for it, I started with my written text. I kind of wrote, I sort of looked at it as two separate genres. Again, I think I was looking at them kind of from two different rhetorical standpoints. The text was meant to be a little bit more formal, a little bit more following a generalized format of, okay, what does a sort of scholarly book review or academic book review look like?
Yeah.
Whereas, when I sat down to actually start shooting the video, there was just naturally a more performance or entertainment aspect to it that I wanted to add in there.
I think there definitely was a performance aspect to it. I think that that's part of my frustration with my video, though, is that I know I could do better than that on the performance side of it. Having videotaped myself in the past doing speeches and learning how to, use body language, use tone, use expressions better, and it's not coming out there, and that's what frustrates me, or it's not coming out the way I would like it to.
You had a great persona because you were wearing your zebra kind of dress.
Right.
Whenever you had that, I remember you had a necklace that was pretty bright and out there. You were like a cool music. No polyester here.
Yeah. You were like the news anchor.
I was from PBS.
Yeah, like
the
voiceover
education
person.
song.
Right. And I don't know who I was. I guess it was somewhere in the middle.
You were the guy in the dark room.
I was the guy in the dark room. I was the guy in the prison cell posting something.
Reading about performance, it always assumes like a live performance. Right? Let me put it this way. If you just had to do this in class.
I'm totally obsessive, so I would write it out and I would read what I had exactly on the piece of paper.
So it wouldn't have been any different.
It would be like I had to go to a meeting the other day and I wrote out bullet points for myself to touch on because I didn't want to miss anything.
Really a performance in the same sense because if you can edit it, it's the same thing as actually performing. Or is it more like
Editing
writing?
is part of performance. You're creating a performance through editing.
Well then,
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's probably analogous to like is revision writing. I mean, if we look at revision as every bit as much part of the writing process as actual pen and paper, I would think editing is an equal part of the performance.
oh sure. But it's certainly different than, like it's not, there's something different about that versus say slang poetry in person kind of thing.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, like I was going to say, maybe go back to the question about how it would be different in class. Like, I think if I was doing it in class, I probably would have approached it like I teach a lesson in my class. I would have, like Barry said, had like a general idea of these are the points I want to hit. But, it definitely would have changed things. I mean, I think I would have probably had a slightly different persona and maybe having considered, some other aspects of the performance. I don't know exactly what those would be now, but I would certainly think about it.
Maybe your persona be more teacher.
It probably would,
And you have to think more about your whole persona from like head to toe and everything. Whereas we only really need to think that much about from the shoulders up. So I was friends with Jalen.
That was crazy.
So like, you didn't have to worry about that stuff,
doing a performance in front of a live audience, you can take cues from the audience. That was, I think, one of the biggest issues with me on why I couldn't pull it off without a script, because I was sitting there looking at a camera, and I don't know, something about the brain process just wouldn't work.
But yeah, you were like, just go ahead and figure it out, and you'll learn more about doing it that way. And that's the nice thing about working with grad students, I think, is that we're pretty resourceful at this point, and we can figure it out. I would never do this with my first year writing students. I would never say like, go make a video and figure out how to do it. Or like, go into Word and figure out how to use the comment feature, because then there would be absolutely no standardization. It would be crazy. Whereas with this, you felt comfortable just kind of letting us go and figuring it out, and you knew that we would produce something that was good.
I think that if you do video, like a group video project like that, you do have to think about the fact that there are going to be some people who are really familiar with video and software and editing and those kind of things, and then you're going to have people who are not.
Like I said, I don't think this is, necessarily a replacement for the words in a row type of writing to be taught, but it certainly gets at a lot of the same issues.
One of the challenges that I always run into, especially in the first year writing class, is that for time that I spend with students on how to do a video, how to like set up the camera, and how to do technical things with the software to edit the video, that time I spend with students doing that is time that I'm not spending with them on words in a row literacy. And in first year writing classes, especially a place like Eastern, which is a very opportunity granting sort of school, a lot of these students really do need very hands-on how sentences work, how paragraphs work, how very nuts and bolts grammar sorts of things. The kind of work that we tend not to want to talk much about in composition studies nowadays, for good reasons, because I don't think that that should be the end all and the emphasis, but I don't think it should be absent either. Students come out of my first year composition class and they are able to make really good videos or really good flash presentations or really good podcasts or anything like that, but they still haven't quite mastered basic library skills, research. They still haven't really thought carefully about invention strategies for coming up with ideas. They still are having problems with just basic sentence level sort of grammar issues. I don't think that I've necessarily done that student a lot of good.
You could say that about just about anything when you want to bring something new in.
It's true.
And realistically, I think it's about what are we really valuing here. By the same respects, you can say that all the time that you spend on outlining sentences and grammar is taking away from maybe arguably more useful, more sort of I don't know what the right word is, adaptable things. You could use this for so many different purposes. It doesn't have to be a book review. It can do so many more things because at its core, it's just visual representation. There's a performance aspect to it. There's a technical aspect to it. But I don't think it's an either or.
Right.
It can certainly be a both.
Maybe it's like the next technological step. It's like writing changed the way we think, and now videos can change the way we think even more and research rewire our brains. Yeah. That makes me wonder, am I going to start having to teach that
Absolutely.
in these classes? Like, am I going to have to start teaching YouTube and how to present it in a really different ways that can become part of the outcomes of our first year writing curriculum?
I think it's just inevitable, isn't it?
seems to be. I mean,
I'm scared. I don't know if I'm qualified to teach that stuff. And then I worry that it's going to take away from the writing and like, but take away, like, is that a bad thing or is it still really related? Those are like big questions.
that's why you start with the low bridge to your high benefits.
Nice connection. No, we're gonna work that in. We're gonna work that in. I think that's it for now. Maybe more later. Interesting. At the end, yours is the credits.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to say that that was my husband's input.
Is that right? This is kind of an odd question I'll ask, anyways. No credits.
Oh, like at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I don't think I necessarily even consciously thought about it.
At the end, I like my wave.
I do
That's
too.
my favorite part.